بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وقل اعملوا فسيرى الله عملكم ورسوله والمؤمنون. برحب ولي الشرف أن أرحب بمعالي وزير البيئة اللي بيشرفنا النهارده في طورة تاني مرة عشان يرى بعينيه التطور اللي بيتم. بنرحب كمان بالدكتور محمد رضا علي العدل ممثل وزير الاستثمار واللواء أركان حرب مهندس إسماعيل جابر رئيس الهيئة العامة للتنمية الصناعية، وبالسادة الحضور. النهارده احنا في لقاء مع السيد معالي الوزير عشان نشوف على الطبيعة ازاي اسمنت طورة نجحت في التخلص من مشاكل الأتربة اللي كانت لوقت طويل جدا كانت عاملة مشكلة بالنسبة للبيئة المحيطة أو بالنسبة حتى للبيئة العمل. فأنا مش عايز أطول عشان ندي فرصة للكلمات الآتية، وإن شاء الله الزيارة المفتوحة اللي تبقى في مصنع اسمنت طورة. لكن أنا برحب تاني بيكم في قلعة صناعة الاسمنت في مصر، في أقدم مصنع في مصر، في أعتقد إنه المصنع اللي معالي الوزير قال عليه في الزيارة اللي فاتت إنه طورة بالنسبة له هي الإشارة أو العلامة على التطور البيئي اللي بيحصل في مصر. اعتقد وانتوا جايين المصنع النهارده شايفين المساحات الخضراء، بنتكلم على اكتر من 25,000 متر مساحات خضراء مزروعه في اسمنت طورة. مشروع اتكلف اكتر من 200 مليون جنيه عشان نحاول نبقى مطابقين للمواصفات العالميه. بنتكلم على بدل 300 مللي جرام طالع من المداخن بتاعتنا، بنتكلم النهارده على 10 15 و20 مللي جرام اللي هو زي اوروبا تقريبا. احنا شركتنا او احنا اسمنت طورة ومجموعه سويس اسمنت ايتالشمنتي، التارجت الاساسي بتاعنا ان احنا هنشوف وهنقدر نعيش جوه المدينه مطابقين للبيئه، محافظين على البيئه المحيطه بالمصنع ومحافظين على البيئه الداخليه للمصنع. برحب بكم مره ثانيه واترك الكلمه للسيد العضو المنتدب. شكرا.
Assalamu alaikum. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome to everyone, and a special welcome to His Excellency the Minister of Environment, to our dear Chairman, to our honorable guests, and to all the employees and the press in this room. I'm very happy to have you here to give you an idea of what we have been doing, especially in Tora and in Helwan, next plant from here, in terms of environment over these past several years, to demonstrate and to help support the facts that we strongly believe cement industry can live in harmony in the community where we are, even when these communities are in major urban areas. So just a few words to remind everyone that Suez Cement Group is the oldest and largest cement manufacturer in Egypt. We have a 12 million tons capacity with 3 companies, Suez Cement, Helwan Cement, and Tora Cement, which have been established as far back as 1927 for Tora. We employ more than 3,500 employees directly and more than 3,000 indirectly. We also are diversified in downstream activities in ready-mix concrete and aggregates. And our sales are 5 billion, mostly dedicated to the local market, as exports only represent 3%. So cement is a local business made for the local market. I'm changing. Okay. Okay. Nazira is? Okay. Okay. So, since 2005, Suez Cement is part of Italcementi Group, which is the world number 5 cement producer. And we are doing that in strong partnership, maintaining strong partnership through our different companies. Suez Cement is having partners from the Middle East, also from the public sector, and is listed on the stock exchange. And same for Tora Portland Cement. We have participation from the public sector and also listed on the stock exchange. Our group has been from day one strongly committed to implement Italcementi's sustainable development strategy, policies, and best practices. And they are covering a wide area of topics: health and safety, employees, energy consumption, and CO2 emissions, environmental performance, and corporate social responsibility. I will touch very rapidly on all of them and finish with environmental performance with a more detailed presentation. So in terms of safety, just key messages. Since 2005, we have reduced 60% the number of accidents in the workplace. On the health side, we are covering 100% of the workforce with a periodical check for exposure to the dust, to the noise, and to the vibrations. In terms of employee training and development, we are in average providing 100 hours of training per employee, and we are strongly promoted internal developments, and we are filling the job vacancies by 1/3 through people developments and 2/3 through external hire. In terms of energy, we have done a lot of efforts and a lot of investments to reduce our consumption of fuels and our consumptions of electricity by an average of 10% over the period. And as a result, but with also other measures that we have been taking, our CO2 emissions have been reduced by 12.5% over the period. And those are specific, so they are not affected by the evolution of the production. They are per every ton of cement that we sell. On the corporate social responsibility, we strongly believe that we have to give back to the community where we operate. We are spending around £10 million yearly in a pointed way to support the needs of the communities where we operate, especially in two fields, education and health. In education, we have been working with several partnerships with the Don Bosco Institutes, with the with the universities in Helwan, Suez, and Minya. We have different programs with this, and we have also a scholarship with the American University to offer the possibility for advanced education to the young people from our communities. On the health side, we've been working with several hospitals, the Children Cancer Hospital. We are right now having a project with the foundation Misr El Khair to renovate the Helwan Hospital. So back to environment. Our belief basically is that in environments you have, and we are here in Egypt, we have to build on a virtuous pyramid. The basic of the pyramid that we have to start with is compliance. Compliance with the laws and compliance with the regulations. From there, we have to put in place management systems so that we can control, monitor what we are doing and correct in case we identify any deviation. And in addition to that, we need to have this continuous improvement approach so that constantly we are looking at ways to implement the new technologies, to get to the best international practice. And this is what we have been doing over the past 10 years here in Egypt. And I will give you some examples of that. It was pointed out, and it is well known, the cement industry major environmental impact has been and is dust emission. And it has been the primary focus in the past 10 years to work on dust emissions, to measure them and to reduce them. We have been developing several programs in close cooperation with the Ministry of Environment under the name of the Environmental Abatements Pollution Programs. And those programs have been tracked in a very precise way, exchanged in a transparent way with the environmental agency, and is showing that we have implemented a lot of investments and actions to reduce in a drastic way all the emissions in our plants. Waste is not only coming from our process, there is also waste coming from the ambient dust, and one of them is the bypass dust, on which we also have made a lot of progress in our plants. Now there is more demand from the communities, also more demand from the government, and there are more demand for also a company like ours. And we are adding to the historical focus some other priorities like the CO2 emissions. CO2 emission is not a local pollutant. CO2 emissions is a global pollutant which basically contributes to the global warming effect. So it has no impact locally, it has an impact on the globe, on the climate change issues. Energy is also an important focus with the environmental dimension, as Egypt has decided to diversify its energy mix. Waste utilization as part of the energy, but also as part of contributing to the waste recycling channel in the different governorates where we operate. Lastly, we also start working on the quarry rehabilitation and on the biodiversity inside the quarries. Since 2005, so few figures that I want to give you, we have invested in Helwan and Tora 350 million. For the whole group, it is 500. But for Tora and Helwan, these two facilities, 350 million through the two EPAP programs, this environmental pollution abatement plan in cooperation with WEAA. So we had two generation of programs. We have worked on the cement mills, and then we have worked on the main stacks, and we have got some impressive results that I will show you in a minute. We have implemented a full control on the bypass dust, and we have worked on the historical bypass, which used to be dumped in the back of the plants. So we have been concealing, that is covering all the area with a layer of clay. In some of them we have been even planting grass and trees to conceal them. And we have put in place a program to recycle and or landfill 100% of the fresh bypass dust. So we are now recycling up to 50% of the bypass dust in road pavement through outside companies. And what they don't take yet, we are landfilling it using the proper landfilling technology. That is, we are putting a subliner, we are putting the dust, and then we are covering so that the dust is not flying anymore and will not contaminate the ground through this subliner layer. The last activity that we had was to reduce also the ambient dust by increasing the areas which are paved inside our plants, by increasing the areas with plants and grass. All of that has been also taking investments with £20 million invested and more than 2.5 million square meters of concealed dust area which have been covered. And we have 400,000 square meters of green areas planted in both plants, and we have 100,000 square meters paved areas in both plants as well. So major effort. So rapidly, all these results, all these efforts have allowed us to reduce, and this is the number for the Helwan plants, the dust emission by a factor of 9 over the past several years. And with the implementation of all the new filter technology and the concentration of the production on the modern lines. In Tora, we are not quite at this level. We are planning to reach this level. We are currently at a reduction of 86%. So we have reduced by a factor of 7. And the plan is to continue to implement the same technology and to reach a factor of 9 in terms of reduction of the pollution load, basically, from the plants on the dust side. So these are impressive results which can be seen, hopefully can be felt by the community around the plants. Together with that, or one of the elements of the action that we had was to concentrate the production of cement on the most modern lines using the wet technology. and to progressively stop the wet lines and also the dry lines which don't have the economic size, for which the massive investments needed for to install the filters are not economically viable. So in concentrating the production, we have decreased the consumption of energy. We have been able to select the best and most expensive technology because we were doing that only on the large lines. And we have reduced dramatically the environmental impact on residential areas. The Tora Plant 1 and the Helwan Plant 1 and 3 are stopped. And we have doing that also in moving away from the residential areas, which was one of the critical factor that was coming, the driver that we had from the authorities. So Tora 1 close to residential areas, Tora 2 close to the desert in the quarry area. Helwan, the same thing. Helwan, the new plants are the further away from the residential areas. So we have decreased the pollution and moved away from the residential areas by shutting down the production close to the housing and where the people are living. Obviously, this is creating a lot of concerns to our employees. I fully understand this. So our message has been, and it still is, that we are going to support every single employee. We are not going to let down anyone. We are going, and we have started to do that, to redeploy them, to offer them new jobs in the plants where we operate on the dry lines. We are going to offer them job opportunities in other plants when we have of the group. And for those who have personal projects, we have been offering and we are going to continue to offer support so that they can continue to develop their career inside the company, inside another company of the group, or outside if they prefer to do so. So this is a commitment that we have taken. This is a commitment I'm taking publicly here, reaffirming this today. So we, on the energy side, we strongly believe that we need to have a responsible and sustainable energy mix. The first line in that is the development of waste utilization from agriculture, biomass, and municipal origin. Our long-term goal is 25% of the total energy consumed from waste. This year is the first year where we have started our investments. We are already reaching 8% in Helwan and 7% in Katameya, where we have installed a new novel investments, first time in Egypt that we are treating the municipal waste to make RDF. And we have a joint project that we are currently speaking with the Cairo governor to establish also a waste treatment plants for Tora and for Helwan. And then the second major step is to switch from the fuel oil and the gas towards petcoke and coal, so that these fuels, which are scarce in Egypt, can be redirected to other applications like power generation, like chemical industry, industries which can make a better utilization of these fuels, which are scarce on demand. That we can implement the best technologies that we know that we have developed worldwide, including in Europe, inside cities, to use petcoke and coal under the regulations that is being currently designed by the Minister of Environment. And we are also minimizing the energy consumption. The best energy is the energy you don't use. So we have an energy conservation plan as well. And we are also considering renewable power, so that we are using less power from the generation using gas. And we are working actively on this project of developing a wind farm in the Gabel El Zit area that would cover for a significant part of our power needs inside the group. So, just to finish, none of these achievements would have been possible without the strong dedication, commitments, and hard work of all employees, and I would like to thank you here. Mabruk and shukran. And obviously, with the date we are, I'm wishing you Eid Mubarak.
لا انا عايزه البرزنتيشن تتحط. صباح الخير. احنا مش عايزين ناخد وقت طويل في البرزنتيشن والعروض عشان احنا عايزين نشوف على الطبيعه، فاحنا عاملين حوالي 15 سلايد، لكن احنا مش هنقولهم كلهم، بس الماتيريال دي كلها هتبقى افيلبل للصحفيين هارد كوبي وسوفت كوبي، ولو اي حد عايز يتناقش او يفهم حاجه فيها احنا تحت امره. احنا بس هنقول خلفيه عامه على خطه توفير الاوضاع. الخطه عباره عن ايه؟ الخطه دي احنا ابتدينا ندخل نظام توفير الاوضاع للمنشآت الصناعيه في سنه 2009 عند اعداد تعديلات على دليل تقييم الاثر البيئي.
ممكن نسمع بعد اذن حضرتكم؟
اوكي. اهم حاجه علاقة خطة توفير الأوضاع اللي هي أهم حاجة فيها بيبقى في وصف العمليات الإنتاجية. الغرض من الخطة إن احنا نشوف بالانس أو اتزان ما بين المدخلات والمخرجات، عشان نشوف الفاقد في الإنتاج بتاعنا بيروح فين وعن طريق إيه، عن طريق انبعاثات هواء أو عن طريق انبعاثات مية. أنا امبارح جالي بعض الصحفيين كانوا بيقولوا طب هو لازم الخطة دي يتم إعدادها من خلال استشاري؟ لا، احنا الشركة اللي احنا فيها دلوقتي اللي قامت بإعداد الخطة بنفسها وتم مراجعتها من وزارة البيئة، ووزارة البيئة بتوفر الخدمة دي بأن احنا بنقدم دعم فني لمساعدة الشركات في تحديد المشروعات البيئة المطلوبة. ايه علاقة الخطة بالقانون؟ احنا زي ما قلنا في المادة 22 المادة 22 في قانون البيئة. انا معلش في حاجة في المونيتور. هو مش شغال، عايزة ارجع من تحت. اوكي لا هو معلق. اطلع قدام. لا ارجع تاني. اوكي. هي اهم حاجه اللي احنا في الاجتماع تحت كنا بنتكلم على الماده 22 ان في حاله عدم التزام المنشاه الصناعيه بتسجيل.
الحته دي بقى مهمه جدا عشان
احنا هنقول نص الماده بعد كده هنشرحها. اذا تبين عدم احتفاظ المنشاه بالسجل الصناعي، ده قانون 9
بتعديلاته الاخيره. القانون الحكومي بيحكم اي حد هيتكلم في حاجه خاصه بالمنشاه من الناحيه البيئيه.
إذا تبين عدم احتفاظ المنشأة بالسجل البيئي أو عدم انتظام تدوين بياناته، احنا مش هنكمل بقية البتاع، بس هي الغرض منه ان لو المنشأة مخالفة للقانون بيتم إجراءات معينة. أول إجراء منح مهلة إضافية محددة للمنشأة لتصحيح المخالفات.
دي مهمة جدا للسادة الإعلاميين عشان يفهموا.
وإلا
يحصل مخالفة مش معناه ان انا اجد مخالفه ان انا اروح جاي قافل المصنع او قافل الماسوره او قافل الفلتر او قافل اللي المفروض يكون مخالفه من خلال قياسات لمده طويله. وكمان ما بقفلش طوارئ، القانون ما بيدينيش كده.
اوكي. وقف النشاط المخالف لحين ازاله اثار المخالفه، وذلك دون المساس باجور العاملين.
مهله اضافيه للمنشاه ولا وفاء اوضاع. كويس؟ بعد كده لا نعم بالاتفاق عليها في 60 يوم في سنه، لان على حسب الصناعه. صناعه صغيره مش زي صناعه كبيره. صناعه راجل هيركب هنا مثلا فلاتر، كويس؟ ده مش فلتر الشاي، كويس؟ ده فلتر ليه حاجات هندسيه بيدرس ويقف الانتاج ويتعمل مناقصات بتاخد سنه وسنه ونص وسنتين. ده مصنع كبير زي كده، لكن مصنع صغير. دي حاجه ودي حاجه، دي احنا بنتفاهم مع الشركه فيها.
وفي حالة الخطر البيئي الجسيم يتعين وقف مصادره في الحال.
يعني بص خلي بالك من الماده اللي قبل كده، لو برضه اتفقنا وخالف برضه كويس، يبقى ممكن ان انا اقول له اقف لحد ما تزيد المخالفه. طب ويحصل ايه للعاملين؟ قال لك ايه؟ ودون المساس باجور العاملين. يبقى العاملين لا يضروا، لان ده بيبقى غلط اداره مش غلط عاملين. ودي ضروري نفهمها كويس جدا، والقانون موضحها كويس جدا. ده في الاحوال اللي انا هوقفه مثلا شهرين عقبال ما يخلص، عقبال ما يعمل المخالفه. لكن لو في بقى خطر على الصحه، مصنع بيطلع كلور سام زي ما سيادتكم عارفين، مصنع بيطلع سينايل يرميه في نهر النيل كويس، وجنبه محطه ميه كويس، ده بقى خطر دائم، ده خطر دائم على الصحه. ما كانش كده ناس هتموت. ده بنقفل طوالي وبينطبق عليه ان ما ياثرش على العمليه. يبقى في كل الاحوال الحق بالايقاف مش مطلق. مش كده اي واحد وقاعد في مكتبه هياخد قرار ايقاف، مش كده خالص كويس. لان دي صناعه يا جماعه، احنا بنتكلم على صناعه، بنتكلم على تنميه، بنتكلم على بيوت ناس، بنتكلم على ارزاق ناس. ده مش قرار يتاخد من يوم وليله. البلاد بره بتحافظ على صناعتها، بتدافع عن صناعتها كويس. ومش هنيجي احنا نقتل الصناعه، لكن احنا هنيجي نتفق مع الصناعه ازاي يتوافقوا بدون ما ياثر على العاملين. اعتقد ان قانوننا واضح في الحته. يا فندم انا بدي، بص يا فندم، الخطه اللي احنا جايين، ما احنا جايين النهارده ليه؟ احنا جايين ليه النهارده؟ مش جاي اتكلم على الفعل، ها؟ ومش هتكلم على الفعل الا لما الشركه تلتزم. ها؟ كلير؟ من الاخر كده؟ كويس. مش معقول حضرتك تبقى عندك مخالفات وابدا اتكلم على الفعل. لان في صحه ناس. مش هتكلم على الفعل. لكن انا جاي اتكلم على خطه طبقا لتعديلات القانون سنه 2009. المفروض ان هتبقى الاتربه عند حضرتك 50 مللي جرام. فانا جاي اتكلم، حضرتك هتعمل الكلام ده ازاي؟ انا درست الكلام ده معلش ما يكون بصححيني هندسيه.
اوكي.
سيبيني انا اخلص.
ماشي.
بقول لحضرتك هتعمل الكلام ده ازاي؟ في تكنولوجيات مهما حطيت فيها مفيش فايده. لانها قديمه. اللي هي الخطوط الرابطه. قديمه. ما حدش بيستخدمها دلوقتي. بتستهلك طاقه اكتر واحنا ما عندناش طاقه في مصر. وكميه الانتاج اللي طالعه 156,000 طن. 156,000 طن. الست خطوط اللي في طرق. في حين ان انت عندك خط انتاج جاف اللي هو كبير طلع لحد 4 مليون. انت بتستخدمه ده طلع 2.5. طيب ما تزود في الجاف ونحط له الفلاتر الجديده، يبقى كميه الانتاج ما نقصتش، دي ممكن تزيد. يبقى عبور العاملين مضمونه. يبقى كمان ارباح العاملين ونصيبهم في الارباح مضمون. ده هياخد منه وقت، كلنا عارفين كده. فباجي
في خط الرابط بتاعك
اكمل. بص اكمل يا فندم، لان
ايوه في 7 خطوط عندي فيهم.
يا سيدي الفاضل، يا سيدي الفاضل، يا اما نتكلم مع بعض كويس ودي ندفع انا وانت بره، يا اما نسمع لان في ناس.
انا بشرح المعلومه ان
لا معلش ما تشرحش دلوقتي، سيبنا نتكلم ما تقاطعناش، ولما نخلص سيادتك اتفضل قول اللي انت عايزه.
ماشي.
والا مش هنوصل لحاجه، يعني الفكره مش هتكمل.
يا باشا انا بوضح ان اللي تحت 7 خطوط بالست.
يا سيدي الفاضل ايوه 7 خطوط فيهم واحد جاف.
أيوة.
انا بتكلم على الرطب يا فندم. 6 رطب ولا لا؟
رطب.
طب خلاص يبقى ما تغلطناش
بقى 10 سنين.
طيب يا فندم انا بقول لحضرتك يبقى رطب مش كده ولا ايه؟ طيب هتعمل ايه في الرطب؟
هو واقف بقى 10 سنين
يا فندم ايوه هتعمل ايه في الرادل؟
مش شغال.
كويس؟ يبقى مش شغال. كويس؟ يبقى انا عايز اشوف انتاجك يزيد ازاي من الخطوط الثانيه عشان تعوض النقص في الانتاج. طب انت لما تزود انتاجك ده هتزود التلوث ولا مش هتزود التلوث؟ يبقى بنركب فلاتر نسيجيه علشان ما نسيبش التلوث. اظن واضح احنا بنحاول نعمل ايه؟